We're live. I think we're live. This is live. Are we live? Today we've got some poop. We're going to talk about some poop. Who's excited to hear about poop? Nobody?
Crickets.
Crickets. I'm giving people a second to get on here. Obviously, it's 1:30 here, Eastern Standard Time, and today we're going to talk about, some acid reflux, some digestion things. Oh, what is it called? Yeah, do that. I forget it. I messed it up last time. You go ahead.
It's funnier when you mess it up.
Happy Wednesday Hump Day.
Healthy Hump Day.
Happy Healthy Hump Day. We're getting there. See, that was closer. Maybe. I don't know. If somebody can actually write what I said last week, what will we give them?
I don't know.
A like on their page or something?
Oh,
something good?
a shout out?
We'll give you a shout out. We'll give you a shout out on our page, and we'll give you a big old hug next time you're in the office if you come here. So, but anyways, well, let's go ahead and get started, yeah?
Okay, so what's our topic for today?
So today, we're going to talk about reflux, heartburn, indigestion, things like that, and what are you doing to take care of it? Because when you have those symptoms, the first thing that you reach for is always, well, I'm producing too much acid, so you get a proton pump inhibitor, maybe a Nexium, maybe a Prilosec, maybe you go to your doctor, and a Omeprazole, or God knows how many different ones there are.
Over the counter, you think you're doing better because you're not getting a medication, but you're taking Tums every day.
Yeah, and Tums is interesting. Apparently, there's calcium in Tums, right. And she may have heard this the other day, but when I was growing up, and I talked about the lifestyle that I lived and growing up and eating that sad standard American diet with Dunkin' Donuts and Doritos and Dr. Pepper and Domino's and just pizza and we just didn't have a very good diet. But my source of calcium came, and thank God I was an athlete, and so I didn't put on the weight that I would have put on. But my dad would always give me Tums to take. For calcium. And when I was telling people that in the office the other day, we were at a training. I had a patient sitting here kind of listening to our training, and she said, "Oh my gosh, we used to do that too." So I guess it was like a real thing, and people used to do that. But that's just crazy.
That's horrible advice.
Yeah. So thanks, Dad. Thanks for that. But why?
He was worried about your bone health.
He was worried about my bone health. And we can talk about bone health and things on a whole nother talk. But yeah, we talk about proton pump inhibitors, and we talk about acid reflux, and it's because obviously you produce too much acid.
Wrong.
And most people are like mind blown, shocked. Well, why am I taking all these acid reducers if it's not because I'm taking too much acid? Well, then what the heck is it?
Right, yeah. So I think that's the most common misconception when it comes to GERD or acid reflux is everyone assumes because you have that burning sensation that you have too much acid. And the actual reality is it's the complete opposite. Heartburn and acid reflux is created because of low stomach acid. So for a lot of you, that might have been the first time you've heard that, which means that everything you've done to try and treat it up to this point was wrong, and that makes people mad. But that's the reason why you keep having to take these things day after day after day, because it's not the actual fix, and in reality it's making it worse. If you already have low stomach acid, which majority of the population does because of the nutrition that we eat and the inflammation that we have, you have low stomach acid, and then you take these antacids on top of it, which is decreasing your stomach acid even more, and you wonder why your symptoms keep coming back and they keep getting worse. And now you're going for scopes, and they're seeing that you have, abnormal cell growth in your esophagus, or maybe you have Barrett's esophagus, all these things that they're telling you from years and years and years of acid reflux. It's because the treatment is hugely flawed. And I think, just like cholesterol, this is one of those things that medicine has really got it way wrong, and that's why so many people are still suffering from these symptoms.
Yeah, it's wild. And I always say I won't judge you, but since nobody's here, I can judge you. But write in the comments if this is what you do. It's like you're eating this food, and you're eating that standard American diet that is wrong for you. So you're eating grains and sugars and things that interrupt our acid and affect our digestion. You're eating these processed foods, and you're eating out of a box or out of a box through a window or whatever it may be. And so your body is literally like screaming and yelling at you, saying like, stop eating that stuff. And it's like throwing acid up. It's trying to like burn you to like make sure.
What's it saying?
It says, stop eating that stuff. And it's like telling you to like stop eating that stuff. You got to do something about it because it's affecting you. And it's affecting you so negatively, and it hurts. And sometimes people think like, well, am I having a heart attack?
Yeah, right.
And so we don't want to make too much fun of this because this can be a serious thing. So if you're struggling with it, again, we're going to help you, and we can show you tips and ways to reduce that and to start getting off the medications and just get healthy. But your body's literally screaming at you, telling you to stop this thing, and so what you do is you just take a pill and tell it to shut up. because I'm not going to change anything, so it's very easy to just put a duct tape on it. You wouldn't do that with your car. Why do you take better care of your car? Why do you go to take care of the check engine light, fill it up with gas, change the oil, do all these things, make sure that it's running, make sure it's clean. If your kid throws something on it, it's picked up, make him pick it up, whatever it is. You take care of your car better than take care of your health. You're going to replace that car.
Right.
You're going to replace the car every couple of years. You lease it and you just get a new car, get something different because you're bored of it. But you don't get to just get bored with your body.
Right.
You got to do something about it. You got to take care of it. You got to start making changes. So what are some changes? And I guess one thing too, and you're hearing this, if you're on a proton pump inhibitor, you don't just stop it. So don't hear us wrong. Like, you can't just stop those things. Those are definitely drugs that you need to kind of wean off and maybe back it up. But what are some tips, I guess, to be able to not have the acid reflux?
Well, first let's kind of go through just the physiology of why the stomach acid and the low stomach acid is creating this, so it might make some more sense to you. So a lot of times people will say too, and you'll hear this comment a lot, it's like, I can't eat the same way I used to when I was in college or when I was a kid or whatever, and they think it's, because they're developing too much stomach acid or whatever it might be. But the truth is as your body gets more unhealthy, you're draining that stomach acid. So what you used to be able to eat, and you had plenty of stomach acid to digest it properly and break it down, you eat that food again, and your body's just unable to break it down. So that's really where the problem happens. Your stomach acid is designed to help you digest, break down foods, absorb the nutrients that you're supposed to have, and turn it into what's called chyme, which is kind of like the liquid form of your food, which wouldn't create any acid reflux. But when you decrease that acid, now physically what's happening is your food isn't breaking down. That's what's creating your symptoms. It has nothing to do with the acid. It has everything to do with the fact that the foods you're eating are no longer being broken down. So then, and this is kind of gross to think about, but I want you to picture it, your food sits inside of your body and it starts to ferment and it can start to rot and it can get stuck there. Those are the things that are causing your discomfort and your pain. So next time you had acid reflux, instead of reaching for a medication, think to yourself, oh my goodness, this is a sign that my body no longer breaks down my food, which will cause acid reflux, but long term it's also going to cause nutritional deficiencies and malabsorption because you need to break down your food appropriately. So it's not just the pain that it causes, it's what else is going on in your body. So the first thing that you need to do is help your body break down food. We need to get a good balanced stomach acid, and we need to give your body the building blocks it needs to break down your food appropriately. Now, the cool thing about acid reflux and GERD, I can honestly say I can't think of one patient that comes to my mind right now that their symptoms don't resolve or completely go away when they make these changes. So it might be something you've suffered with for years and years and years, but it's something we see people get better from all the time. And it typically doesn't even take that long for you to start seeing those changes when you start finally doing the right thing. So one of the first things I would recommend, and these are just some tips, now always, like anything else, get tested because there is a lot of bacterial reasons why you can have acid reflux. H. pylori is one of the main reasons people get those types of acid refluxes. So we're gonna give you some tips today, but none of that ever takes place of really making sure you test your gut, look at those results, and then do something more specific to yourself. But one of the first things I would recommend is some good digestive enzymes, because if you're getting acid reflux, your food is not digesting, and you're going to need to give it some support in the short term while you fix the reason that it's not digesting. So same thing with digestive enzymes, just like a medication. If you have to take it every day the rest of your life, you still didn't fix that problem. So we do need to support it in the short term, but while you're fixing and balancing that. So some good digestive enzymes, typically the dosing of like 2 caps before every meal, helps break down that food, and that alone for a lot of people will decrease their symptoms of acid reflux.
Yeah, just eating things, and I think you said, did you say a chyme bar? Like, is that what they sell at the store, the chyme bars? No? Did anybody get that one? Come on, I'm trying to give you some humor on these things. But so it's called vegetables and it's called fruits. It's called like eating real foods, eating God foods, not eating man foods. Like typically the things that you're going to be affected by are going to be the processed and prepackaged things that you shouldn't be eating anyways, and that's what kind of affects you. And so anything fermented also, like I love kombucha. I'm on day 10 now of this detox, talked about last week, and I can't have kombucha, so that's been rough. So what other sorts of fermented foods can we have?
Things like kimchi or sauerkraut, any of those things that you're going to be getting those probiotics, which are also really great in addition to some of the digestive enzymes that you need. Kombucha is great if you're able to do, he can't do it right now because of the tea and the caffeine component to it, so there's a little bit of caffeine in that. But those are probably the 3 easiest things to come by and find. And then a really easy one that helps a lot lot of people is apple cider vinegar. I mean, I think that is the most simple switch to tell somebody to do. If you were to take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar about 30 minutes before every meal, that's going to stimulate some acid production in your stomach, and that's going to help right away with those symptoms of acid reflux. You can take it morning and night just as part of your general wellness regimen, and that helps with that as well. But again, we're producing more acid, not trying to get less acid. So apple cider vinegar is awesome for that, in addition to some of those fermented foods too.
Yeah, and to be clear, the drugs are very, very effective.
Right, yeah.
I mean, they work. Like the idea
in
of
the
it
short term.
In the short term, of it shutting down the acid production so that you don't have those symptoms, there's no doubt that it works, and it works very quickly. But the problem is that it leads to other things. And one of the side effects of these acid reflux drugs is, ready? It's acid reflux. Like, you take this drug to try to fix it, now it just worsens it. And, you know, and again, it's just not the way. It's a closed system. So to recap, it's a closed system. You eat food, and then food leaves you, right? Or that's how it's supposed to do. But the problem is we have this lower esophageal sphincter that's just not closing and opening properly. And a lot of times there's hiatal hernias, something that we didn't really talk about, but that could be something. You have this hernia in there, and it's allowing it to stay open, which is allowing that fermented food or the food that just is rotting inside of you and not digesting to start coming back up and give you those symptoms. So yeah, just some things that you need to start changing and making better choices.
Yeah, and you know, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention, like he talked a little bit, but nutrition changes start there. So even just adding a bunch of great supplements is not the answer. If you're not willing to make the changes, you can't go and eat all this bad stuff, but take it with some digestive enzymes, have a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and think you fixed everything.
But that's holistic care, isn't it?
Right, well, that's just it. But that is the craziness, I mean, there is a very big difference between, there's the medical community, and then there's more kind of natural medicine, and you'll see a lot of those doctors now, functional medicine and integrative medicine, and their entire answer is just switch a medication for a supplement, but don't make any other changes. And that is the complete opposite of what we believe here. We believe that most of what your body needs can be done through lifestyle changes, and then in the short term, we do have to support with some medicinal herbs and some different supplements just because your body is so damaged. But you have to make those changes. You have to get the long-term results, or else you're going to be stuck on digestive enzymes the rest of your life.
Yeah, and you know, there's over 60 million people who suffer with acid reflux, so I know it's either you or it's friends or family, and they need to hear this, so tag them. Put their name down. Don't just like it, don't just share it, but also like it and share it. But make sure you actually tag those people that need to hear this, because listen, they're struggling. Like, they're looking for help, they're looking for answers. Unfortunately, they're just looking in the wrong places, and that's the problem with healthcare today. Is it's a disease management system. It's not a true healthcare system. We're stuck in it, and it just keeps us getting sicker and sicker. And if you want something different for your health, if you want something different for your life, guess what you need to do? Something different. It's really that simple. So
yeah, so let's do a really quick recap. Acid reflux is not caused by too much acid. What is it caused by?
Not enough acid.
Not enough acid. You need to get better stomach acid in your body. And the number one thing you need to do is start changing your nutrition. The things that affect you and create that response in your body, start cutting those things out. And in the short term, you can add some really great digestive enzymes, some apple cider vinegar, some probiotics. Those things will all help in the short term to get more of that acid production in your body. So we hope you learned something today. Make sure you share this video. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Wednesday.